Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hi, Steve.
Hey, we got the... I love it. The enthusiasm. I love it. Keep it coming. So Ion Max, we have a surprise for you. You've all thrown the Ion Pro, right? But you have not thrown the Ion Max. So basically, this bowling ball, the Pro version is kind of what it is intended based off the name, is that it's a little bit more of a controllable version, less differential. Now we've gone and put in a higher dynamic weight block in there, the Element Max AI Core, okay? So this one has higher differential, high flare potential. It has a stronger cover and stronger surface as well to it. So there's a lot more increases in performance based off of the original Ion Pro, okay? And so we put out the chromium pattern today too, which is a 42-foot pattern. It's a 6-to-1 ratio, so it's kind of halfway in between what would be a sport pattern and what would be kind of a typical house shot. So somewhere in between. And we ran them fresh, so there's fresh back ends, fresh oil in the front. And so what I'd like you to do is have each of you come on up and basically get lined up to where you would normally start on a fresh kind of a pattern that you would think, kind of given those specs that I gave you, okay? And then we're gonna have you throw 5 to 7 shots or so. And then we're gonna take a look at what's happening. We're gonna talk about your ball reaction, the motion, the shape, kind of what you're seeing, and maybe why you're seeing it and what you can expect to get out of the Ion Max once you get it in your hands and you're bowling for score. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, what do you think? Nicole, you wanna volunteer, be our,
sure, let's
be our
go.
first victim? Come, step on up. All right, Nicole, so now as far as the type of player you are, typically you go a little bit more down and in,
Yep.
Is that right? A little bit straighter. On a pattern like this, where typically do you like to start?
I would usually line up somewhere right of 20, close to that.
Okay.
And then usually aim between second and third arrow.
Somewhere
usually.
in that range?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And so on this particular condition, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you throw, say, 5 to 7 shots or so, and we're going to kind of talk through and kind of see what we're seeing for ball motion and reaction and shape. Now you kind of fit in that stroker category, right? So we've got some stroker, we've got maybe a little bit more of a speed dominant player coming up in Dylan next, and then we've got a Rev Dominant player who's a little bit softer in Geo with his big hands. So what we want to do is get you lined up here to the pocket, kind of talk about the shape that we're seeing, and let's have at it.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Nice. Well, what are you seeing so far? What are you noticing?
Well, so far it's recovering a lot when I miss right, which is great.
Yeah.
And the strikes I have been getting are pretty solid.
And for where you're sliding about maybe 22 or so, crossing around 12. And so that's kind of keeping it in that little track of oil. Now, if you had a ball that wasn't as aggressive as far as the core and the cover stock, your ball probably is going to shoot right through there, right? Yeah, it's not going to pick up. But the one thing I'm noticing, I think you're seeing it as well too, is that this ball is slowing down and reading the mid lane without losing any of the shape down lane.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that ball is going through the pins with plenty of angle and it has no trouble carrying.
Right, yeah, it's great.
So let's throw a few more.
Okay. Now
you looked like you're really lined up before, and all of a sudden it maybe, once we get a few shots on the lane, it's time to move, right? So you kind of migrated your feet and your target in a little bit. How much did you move?
2 and 2 left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there any trouble with getting the ball to still shape?
No, no problem.
I didn't see that either. And a lot of times, again, if the bowling ball you're using is just a little bit too clean, doesn't have enough flare potential, maybe the motor inside of it's not strong enough, you're going to have a hard time getting the ball to see the mid lane and create that shape once you move your feet inside, because you're getting in a little bit deeper than more. But I think you still have a little bit more room in you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I think we can make another little jump left,
Okay.
and then use that track to still get it to shape off and see how much ball motion we can get out of this new Ion Max. All right? So give it a shot. Well.
Nice one.
Now, two things. So I don't think I saw you hit the 1-3 pocket and not strike.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Right.
this thing is,
Yeah.
and this is coming from a little bit closer, probably third arrow.
Yes.
Now let me ask you a serious question.
Okay.
How do you feel about being labeled a stroker?
I'm not a fan of the title.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I'll
we need
be
to
honest with
rebrand
you.
it.
We need to be something else because.
Yeah.
But we also need to embrace the fact that all it means is that we like to play a little straighter and a little closer to the track, and it doesn't mean you cannot strike and strike often. Now you moved overall over those 9 shots, you moved your feet in 4 or 5 boards, got your target closer to the third arrow, and like I said, all we kept seeing was strike
Strikes,
after strike after strike, which is a good thing because without that ball reading the mid lane and still having the ability to continue, that's where you'd start to see the carry issues. But we didn't see that at all.
Nope.
So that was awesome. Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah, super fun. All right, Dylan, you're up.
All right, about time.
All right, Dylan. Hey, thanks for being here as well. We had a great demonstration. We started with Nicole. Now, your game here is quite a bit different, though. Okay? So your rev rate is really high. I mean, you're approaching 500 RPMs, even over. But you have the ball speed to match, and sometimes it almost even outweighs, I think, your rev rate. Is that safe to say?
For sure.
Yeah. So on this type of a condition, again, we're 42 feet. It's a fresh condition again. It's a 6-to-1 ratio, so it's in between. It's not easy. It's not hard. But with your game, knowing your game so well in this kind of a condition, where would you typically be playing?
Yeah, so typically on something like this, I would try to get my feet as far right as possible without hitting the out of bounds area. And typically I would start off with my strongest, most aggressive bowling ball, so the Ion Max is going to be perfect for starting out on this for me.
Excellent. So you like big ASIM balls in general?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and just get your feet set up. And again, we're going to be looking, you said probably somewhere inside of the track, but not really going too far to the outside, right?
Yeah, not too far.
Keep it in front of you, again, because of your speed, not necessarily as far as the rev rate.
Yep.
Awesome, let's do it.
Cool.
Well, what are your thoughts? I'll share mine, but what are you seeing out there so far now?
Yeah, so that ball, I definitely missed a little left, got it more in the oil, but it held. It didn't overhook, it stayed on line pretty decently. I would expect if I threw it more to the right, it would have more of a kind of off-the-spot motion.
But you feel
Definitely.
pretty comfortable where you're at, kind of around that third arrow, around 15 or so.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you're at. Looks like it shapes it good. The biggest concern that I would typically have would be, are you going to get the ball to pick up soon enough given your ball speed? And I think with that Energy Solid cover stock, in that 2000 grit Aberlon finish, that it really grips in, it kind of slows down and sees the mid lane as well, like it did for Nicole, but in a different way because of the differences in your games.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Let's throw some more shots.
Pretty cool.
I love the way you
Pick the
get the ball
7-10
off
out.
your hand anyway, so I know you throw lots of those kind of strikes anyway. mixing the pins around. But that ball really allows you to have, I think, get the ball to slow down and read it, and really extend and aggressively throw the ball without being worried that you have to try to fit it or make it hook. It's like it shapes enough on your own. Now, you've had some success with the Ion Pro already, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And how much difference in terms of ball reaction? What kind of difference are you seeing so far?
I would say the Ion Max is definitely going to be for the heavier oil. It definitely sees the mid lane a lot sooner. But what I like about it is that even though it does see that mid lane, it doesn't quit on the back end for me. It still has that nice poppy motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ion Pro would definitely be a step down from this for sure.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just kind of see again like we did before. Let's see what kind of potential we have if we move our feet another maybe 3 or so inside, 3 left maybe with the feet, still kind of get to the same break point.
Yeah.
So if you open that angle up with your speed, is it going to see it or is it going to go through it? I think that's what we need to know.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
Not bad.
All right. Well, I think that was, I feel pretty comfortable with that ball in your hand. I don't know how you feel. I like what I'm seeing shape-wise and motion-wise.
Yeah, it looks really good. Again, I wouldn't say I got that ball as far to the right as I intended to, but it still held in the oil, didn't overreact, it didn't burn up or anything like that. And it's still finished. Typically, again, when I get kind of in the oil with these heavier rolling bowling balls, it tends to not really want to make that corner. Even if I hit the pocket, it doesn't really want to go through the pins properly.
And I think that balance of surface and core and cover stock and all that stuff is so kind of delicate in a way, right? So if you don't carry, now all of a sudden you're thinking, what do I have to do to carry? So I need to take, maybe go from 2,000, I go to 3,000 or 4,000 to get it to be a little bit sharper, but now it goes down the lane a little bit too far, so it doesn't read the lane the same way. So I think that's a great point, basically. So, well, thanks, Dylan. That was great. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go ahead and bring up Gio.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi, Gio. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we are on a fresh condition yet again for the 3rd time, right? Now let's talk a little bit about your game. So we know that you're a bit of a Rev Dominant player, right? Basically based off of your 400 plus RPMs.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And your speed is a little bit softer, meaning that typically you're going to be playing the lanes a little bit more to the inside and maybe with a little bit more angle. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And this condition now, again, it's kind of that 6-to-1 ratio kind of a pattern. And so there's a little bit more oil inside. So on this kind of a condition, where would you typically be starting?
Thinking what I saw from Dylan and from Nicole, there's a stronger bowling ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably start between 15, 20 around there, throw it to like 8, 9 down the lane, 7, 8 probably. That's what I'm gonna try to do at the beginning, and then see from there.
And typically, would you use a stronger ASIM solid to do this, or normally would you be using something a little weaker?
Depending if there is a pattern with a lot of volume, I could definitely throw that ball like that. If there is a pattern that hooks a bit more or less volume, I probably would throw something cleaner because of my lower speed.
Okay.
But right now, I will throw that one.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Okay. Hook.
There was some hook.
Plenty of hook.
That ball shaped a lot down lane,
It shapes.
didn't
It
it?
shapes. I actually drill it a little longer pin when I drill usually like big bowling balls, strong bowling balls.
Okay.
I like to drill a little longer pin so the ball stays in line a little longer. For my game, that type of layouts work better.
Because of playing deeper, so maybe even
Yes.
that'd be maybe a good tip too, just for somebody that maybe has a hard time using the stronger, more aggressive equipment. It might be the layout.
Yeah, a little longer layout, a longer pin to PAP. I think that will work better.
Okay, and that looks good right now, but do you have room to move left?
Oh, I can keep moving left for
All
sure.
right, let's do it. Let's see what it's got in it.
Okay, so I'm gonna move probably 4 and 2, 6 and 3.
Okay.
Plenty of hook.
That ball kept coming. Now
It keeps hooking,
right?
it keeps
I mean,
shaping.
It keeps shaping down
Yeah.
lane, and a lot of times I think a big solid ASIM doesn't quite have that recovery type of potential
Definitely,
down lane.
definitely,
It has
because
the
there's-
tendency of being a little softer down lane.
Yep.
This one keeps coming.
It doesn't have problem shaping down the lane for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's keep going. Let's
Yeah,
see how
I'm gonna
much
keep
more.
moving.
See if we can take another jump left, create even more angle.
Okay.
And again, still trying to get it to that same break point down lane.
Okay.
Okay.
Want to move 4 more?
All right.
I can keep moving left.
And that is good to see because it's good to see the shape potential out of that. Now, again, this is the Ion Max. We also have the Pro version, right?
Yep.
Which is going to be cleaner. It's going to stay on the line.
Yes.
Right? It's a great compliment, I think,
Definitely.
to because of the hook potential, the shape, the balance.
I think
between
there are
the two balls.
different shapes. Different shapes. One is stronger a bit more in the mid lane. The other one stays in line a bit more in the mid lane. So I will use it. Probably it could be a 1-2 punch, or it could be different patterns type of balls.
Different lane surfaces.
Different lane surfaces,
Different
yeah.
situations,
Yep.
yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Gio. I appreciate it. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you, Steve.